Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Mortgage Tech Talks. Today, I'm joined by Adrian Schulz of Centum. He is the EVP, the Executive Vice President there. He talks about his interesting journey, how he kind of stumbled as he put 2 feet forward into the mortgage industry, how he quickly rose up the ranks at the Centum organization to really be not even a thought leader there, but across the entire industry. And then with that perspective, we get into all sorts of really interesting things. We talk about how he's been able to implement tech with a huge degree of success. The hint here is that it actually has nothing to do with tech, everything about mindset. We then talk about how a couple changes are underfoot, both in terms of technology and the role that networks play in that. But the other big change is how actually our clients, our end clients, are looking at mortgage brokers going from transaction to trust. And we wrap up, we couldn't do it without talking a little bit about AI, but it's going to surprise you, I think, his answer. We'll see you on the other side. Truth maybe is that every time you put a document in an email, that is the most vulnerable place. Adrian, great to have you here. Every time we jump on a phone call about talking about whatever, we do like a mini episode of this. We always end up talking about all sorts of interesting things. Well, I thought we may as well hit record on one of those conversations. So here we are. Let's get right into it here. In kind of our preamble, I said, oh, you wear a lot of different hats. And you actually say, no, Tom, you're wrong. I wear 2 hats. Talk to me maybe about those 2 hats. I mean, of course, a lot of people know you as your role in Centum. Maybe talk about that other hat. Was it intentional to wear these 2 hats? Are you very much a focused person? How did one influence the other or vice versa? Talk to me about these couple roles that you have.
I'm very focused. And for the last 15 plus years, I've been the president of our family business, which is Imperial Properties Corporation, which is a Winnipeg, Manitoba based property management or real estate services firm. We manage dozens of multifamily residential communities in Winnipeg and surrounding area. And it is actually what led me into stumbling
Yeah.
with both feet into the mortgage industry, I guess just over 5 years ago.
Yep. That's about my timing too, Adrian. Yeah, I came in 2018, 19. So similar journey.
Yeah. And I think many people got into this accidentally and quickly realized how good of a fit it was with my real estate and investment background.
Hmm.
And it's a long story, and you may or may not have heard it before, but our company president, Chris Turcotte, said, hey, is this the Adrian from the Subway franchise system from 20 years ago? And I said, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Turns out I was director of operations for Subway
No
restaurants
kidding.
for a large group of restaurants. And he was looking at becoming a franchisee and was training at one of our
No
stores that
kidding.
happened to be in my region. So
Oh my God.
he said, hey, would you be interested in getting involved on the corporate side? And I said, well, yeah, that's where I should be. Like, that's where I belong, given my background.
Hmm.
And that led to me becoming, at that time, 4 years ago, I think, director of technology for Centum Financial. And then a couple of years ago now, I took on the role, as you know, as executive vice president of the organization, alongside our company president, Chris Turcotte. So that's how I got here today.
Yeah, love this story. And yeah, we were again saying in the preamble where I kind of stumbled into it too. And a lot of people that I speak with have similar stories where I think that, as a 5-year-old, not most people want to be a firefighter or an athlete. It's never something maybe people have this huge design to do, but people get into it and they realize, what an interesting industry it is. That's it more than anything. What keeps people here is that it keeps you on your toes. We just came out this week with new regulations, which is throwing everyone for a spin, right? It's never a dull moment. And I think that's what keeps it interesting. So one thing I want to get into here, you've been better than I think maybe anybody on this. And so I want to really dive into it is you put it as solving big problems with inexpensive tools. And that's a punchline that I don't think, gives yourself enough credit. 'Cause like I said, you're able to do that very effectively. Just from a third party observer, I've seen you do that very, very well. So, that sounds like a great thing. Solve big problems with inexpensive tools. What do you think was about you, or maybe the Centum organization that you're with, or maybe the technology that you've gotten your hands onto, or probably a combination of all those, that's made you so good at that? Because I think anyone who hears that, it's like, yeah, great, let's do it. Where I see very, very, very few people actually being able to execute on that vision and that idea. So, what's been your secret sauce in that recipe?
Oh, I think if we go back in time for a moment, And this is 20 plus years ago, believe it or not, to my Subway restaurant days.
By the way, I was a sandwich artist in high school.
Oh,
So there we go.
well,
There's another
I
connection.
hope I got to see you at the World Sandwich Artist
Was not
Olympics
there.
in
No.
Hawaii, San Antonio, you name it. No, but we were one of the first large franchisee groups to adopt point of sale systems, coin dispensers at the
Yep.
time, video surveillance, where we were actually doing transaction to customer matching, so we could see how long it took you to get from
No
when you
kidding.
walked
Cool.
in
Yep.
the video crop area to the end of the line. That's 20 some years ago. I believe we were one of the first in North America. And that turned into a whole technology business on its own back then.
Yep.
Now every restaurant has that technology. But just 15 years ago plus, when I became president of Imperial Properties, the property management business, the number one problem that property management companies face, which is almost in every industry, is lack of system and process. Okay.
Sure.
And then once you've got that system and process, bringing it into a platform where you can actually do the day to day, but where you can inspect what you expect, right? Your
Sure.
CRM is useless unless you go and implement it. But once you've implemented it, that you actually go and do your check and balances. You know, did I
Yes.
get my greetings out? Did I do my renewal reports? Did I check my variable rate clients and sorted them or toggled them by priority? So
Sure.
those things require a system. And, you know, magic sauce, there's no magic sauce. It's just, you've got to have the self-discipline.
Yeah.
If you're going to go and acquire a piece of technology, number one, don't bother unless you're fully
Yeah.
committed
Right.
to implementing it in your business, and then on a regular basis, improving what you've developed. And when I say regular basis, with our team, we have a weekly tactical check-in where we are reviewing our different departments in the Centum organization, be it marketing, membership services, business development, innovation, and technology, where what are we doing well?
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
What are we not doing well? And where do we all have to huddle together and fix problems? And we do that weekly. But how do we do it? We do it from the result of KPI measurements in each one of our departments and what people are responsible for, right? Inspect what you
Yes.
expect. So
Yeah.
no magic sauce. This is old stuff. And for anyone out
Yeah.
there, and hey, who doesn't have one? For anyone out there with the most basic business degree, this was taught in your first year. Right? But who was
Yes.
paying attention? We were partying, right?
Yeah, that's right. Well, you know, it's interesting. You talk about what you just talked about there, and none of your answer, none of your secret sauce was tech related. I mean, right? It's not that, hey, you have, you know, this great group of engineers that you've been able to tap into, or you're
We do, by the way.
Sure.
Shout out to
Yes.
to all of our developers at Charlwood Pacific Group.
Yes, of course. Yeah, not to minimize that, but that wasn't the secret sauce necessarily, right? It wasn't that you're an AI coder genius, right? And you've been able to hack the system. It's those fundamentals, and you know, something that we try to preach, and sometimes we get away from it, but we always get reminded to come back. Is, you know, those two things being very different. One, the process that you're going for, and the system that implements it, those are completely different. They need to be thought of that way. You know, when people come in and they want to sign up for a CRM or something, you know, the best practice we like to preach is, well, actually just get a Google Doc out and just document your process before you can even go and try and build a system. It's like, what are you building to? And most people actually have a tough time saying that. And in doing that exercise, it provides so much clarity where that's almost most of the value that people get in actually adopting the system, because it forced them to do that first exercise, right?
Tom, you and
Yeah,
I are on the
yeah.
same page, knowing that a fully built out, well utilized business platform. I hate CRM. I hate that term.
Me
Business
too, actually.
platform.
I hate
Okay.
it too. Yeah, let's get rid of it.
That is
Yeah.
going to grow your business. It's going to make you do a better job and make you more profitable. However, for a starting point, I'm a firm believer in the mortgage space that the number one tool that you need in your business is a free tool. You already have it in your hand. It has something called contacts, calendar,
Yeah.
email, and it has this magical button that lets you make tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's called the phone button.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Once you've maximized those modules on your phone, then you're ready to synchronize it with
Yes.
whatever business platform, and then you can automate it. But until you figured out how to use the $1 million machine here, I'd just start there, right?
Yeah. No, it's so funny. These past couple of years have been a roller coaster, maybe to say the least. I've heard all sorts of different stories, people going up and down, and CRMs or business systems, we should say, being part of it or not being part of it. One of the best success stories I've heard, though, is this lady on the West Coast. And she said, I've made one change to my business. I said, what's that? I said, I block 2 hours a day. It's 10 to noon. And all I do during that time is I call people. I call my old clients. I call new prospects. I call my realtor partners. Doesn't matter. I'm just calling for 2 hours straight. And it's so hard. It's so hard to do, to be disciplined
Yeah.
for that and find people to call for 2 hours.
Yeah.
But I'm doing better than 2021. It's the only person I've heard say that. I'm doing better than 2021.
Now, hopefully she's logging the calls so that she knows when
Yeah.
she last contacted her list of prospects, right? And then hopefully
Yeah.
enrolls them into an email marketing campaign.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, well, that's just it, right?
And blue text.
And texting their clients, that's it. But I mean, the point is that you can have A without B, but to try and go straight to B, where it's like, yeah, I want to log my calls and I want to text my clients and I want to do a campaign. Well, you don't even have clients, right? Maybe, or whatever, right? You don't have that list built out. So having that right order is so important. Cool. Well, let's shift gears. I want to spend quite a bit of time because I think you provide this unique perspective of the network's role in technology. And I think it's so exciting because I think there is a little bit of shift underfoot right now. And of course, you and your role, you're at the leading edge of that. So where I might want to start with this is how I kind of perked my ears up to you and your perspectives on this is you wrote a piece, I think maybe 1 or 2 years back. You called it the perfect mortgage tech stack or something like that. Am I getting that right? Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. When all of the changes were, Door became Expert Pro, Finmo became part of Lendesk, et cetera,
Yeah.
right?
Lots of choppy waters. And so anyways, Lendesk, I think, picked it up, put it on their website, Centum put it on theirs. It was everywhere. You couldn't miss it. Why do you think that was so successful, right? Like, why do you think it resonated so much with so many partners, but agents and, technology companies? Like, what was it about that article that just kind of struck a chord, would you say?
Well, I think number one, no mortgage agent, no mortgage broker wants to be held hostage to their brokerage or their
Mm,
network brand, right? And one of the most common questions that we see mortgage agents asking wherever is, what CRM do you use?
sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And I just like, oh, not
Yeah.
again,
Yeah.
right?
Here we go. Yeah.
It's the one that you use. That's the one that you should use.
Yes. It could be that phone, right? It could be that
Totally.
dialer. Yeah,
Totally.
absolutely.
But
Yeah.
I think the reason that the article struck a chord is it is a stack. It's never one
Mm,
piece of software that is your road to riches. Your road to success or making money in this business and growing a real enterprise, for lack of a better description, is you're going to have a stack or a list of tools that you use in your business. Some of them are going to be technology. Some of them are going to be analog. I have to tell you, I did start doing deals. I was one of the best performing agents in my first year or something.
okay.
But
Yeah.
I remember my best tool was a whiteboard with magnets that had stickers on them. Okay.
Okay.
Turns out
Yeah.
that's a Kanban board, but
Sure.
I really liked to have it in front of me and move the pieces around. And then actually and I remember telling this story on a training course, is we actually found a Kanban tool that let you display it onto a big screen.
Very
So we
cool.
bought a $500 big screen and the whiteboard became a large screen with a Kanban board. So bottom line is the tech stack, and I think it rings true today.
Hmm.
I would really encourage people not to go looking for the one perfect piece of software. Different things do different things well. And I found that most of the origination platforms that allow you to connect to different things, be it Zoho CRM or Pipedrive or just Zapier and do anything you want, right? Those are the platforms I think that
Yeah.
are here to stay. The closed environment platforms that are specific and mandatory within a network or a brokerage, I think their life is going to be short-lived.
Yeah, no, I love that. And if I could put my thought forward, I think it was, exactly your point where so many agents just want the answer, right? What's the answer to my big tech question? And for a while, they've been told it's this, right? It's this system. It is your answer. It is your be all and end all. And I think what struck about yours is you rejected that. You said, no, it's not that. It's, yeah, like you said, many things. And I think that's exactly it. And, I think, yeah, exactly around the time, the Finmo's coming around, the doors are coming around, we had these API enabled platforms, which allowed to connect to the pipe drives, to the, Zoho CRMs, to the Blue Mortgages. My question to you, because I'm seeing a little bit of this, I'm just keeping my ears up to this, is that I'm wondering if the pendulum has swung a bit further the other way. And I'll tell you what I mean is that now that we have these API enabled deal submission platforms, it's allowed for the CRM, but then also this tool, but then also this tool, but then also this tool, where now are we getting to the point where we're oversubscribed? And I'm just having some conversations where people saying, I'm a little bit exhausted. I'm being sold this other tool and it's another login and another thing I have to put in my bookmark bar there. So yes, it's not one system, but it's not 100 systems. I mean, do you agree with that, first of all? And then if so, how do you find that balance?
I think that the mortgage tech space is getting a little bit noisy right now.
Hmm.
As the industry or as fintech evolves, we're going to have like lots of little players, and then some of them will
Yes.
become medium, some of them will become big. The little ones will die or merge. The medium ones may stick around for a while. But at the end, I think what comes out of this is I think we're going to have a place 1, 2, and 3 origination platform.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that one of them is going to be all encompassing. That's good for the average agent.
Sure.
The next one is going to be, average, not all encompassing, just an average POS that lets you connect to other things. And then I think we're going to have the mad scientist platform. And I could put names to all of those, but I won't, out of respect to everybody in the
Sure.
industry. But it's the mad scientist things that I think create a lot of confusion in the industry, because the mad scientist requires you to attach a whole bunch of other tools to it, right? I think the sweet spot is sort of in the middle, right?
Yeah.
Does it take a good application? Is it smooth underwriting? Is it well connected to lenders? And is there a fair and reasonable way of getting your client data into some place where you can have a business process or business platform to go alongside? And we're going to call that a CRM for this discussion.
Yep.
And I'm going to do a bit of self-promotion for a moment, right? I
Please. Yeah.
have to. Otherwise,
Yeah.
how will they pay me for this
Yeah.
30 minutes?
Yeah. Yeah.
At Centum, we're all about being technology agnostic. So we encourage you to use the systems and tools that are best for you and your business. And we empower our broker owners with choice, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's your business. You're independently owned and operated. But as our founder will say, is you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself.
Sure.
So when you come into our environment, you'll see we have support for the myriad of different origination platforms. I don't think we'll ever get into the origination space, but we do now have a tool which I think can replace, and maybe sad word for some out there, but can replace the need for an email marketing platform and potentially a CRM. Don't worry, because CRMs still do way more than this will ever do.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we've reached the point where borrowers, your clients, do not care about your blog article. Sorry, guys. They certainly don't care about mine.
You're breaking a lot of hearts today, Adrian.
No.
No, I'm just
But
kidding.
let me,
Yeah.
I have a solution, right?
Yeah.
I think that the borrower does not care about our view of the economy or whatever messaging we put out there. Here's what the borrower cares about. The borrower cares about how much equity they have in their home. The borrower cares about how much debt they have. The borrower cares about the mortgage interest rate that they're paying. I know we don't like to hear this, but it's a reality of the day. So I would propose that whatever you're doing for your client, do something that's of value to them. Tell them what they want to know, their equity, their debt, and their interest rate or their mortgage opportunities, what they can do with that equity. There's lots of tools out there that are now offering this capability.
Mm-hmm.
We did build one in-house because we wanted to offer it for free. We think that by offering value-added solutions that you can use with anything that you're doing will help you grow your business. And look, here's the reality. When our brokerages that are a member of our network grow, when we get more agents in our network, that's how we grow. We're in the business of helping broker owners and team leaders grow their teams. So how do we do that? We give you valuable tools.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if my memory serves me right, it's the mortgage monitor tool that you guys recently came with that you're referring to. This one here, or is it?
You see what I did there, right? You're the one who did the marketing for me.
Yeah, that's some Jedi mind tricks. Yeah, that'll be next episode, Jedi mind tricks. So no, no, absolutely. And I've seen it come across and it's absolutely interesting. I was going to ask you, but I think you answered is how do you fit it into that stack, this mortgage monitor? So number one, I always say is your email inbox actually, right? You can't even start a deal without emailing. Some people live out of their inbox and I think that's okay. Number two, of course, is the origination system. You got to communicate with the client. It's a 1-2 punch. You can't have that.
Yeah.
And so then for us, we say, okay, well, then the big question is what's number three? And is there a 4 or is there a 5?
We sit between the origination platform and the CRM.
Okay.
If it was in a
Yes.
stack, we sit
Yes.
right in between.
Okay.
Because, you and I know the people that are actively using a CRM are blowing it out of the water. Like they're doing way more
Yeah.
business, they're more profitable. It's undisputable. If you have a business system, you're going to do better. But just before that, you at least want to have an engaging way to communicate with your clients that is not an article, but something that's specific to them and their home and their debt and their equity, right? And I think that's what we're serving. We're giving it away for free because, selfishly, we also want to grow and we are growing like crazy,
Yeah.
as you can imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's so interesting and important because one thing for us, we're CRM, of course, people come to us, I want a CRM. Great. So do you want to, map out your entire business process? And do you have the doc? And do you want to take everything that you do on a day-to-day basis and get it into a system so you can train a team and you can automate certain steps and you do that? And we get sometimes as a response, no, I just want to send a happy birthday email, right? Or I just want to stay in touch with my clients. And so I think that serves it nicely there, right? Where you're saying, okay, I understand the CRM might be over here, origination system might be here. What's in the middle? And I think that's nice. One thing that's different though, so I want to pick up on this. So your strategy, it sounds like as a network, is give these tools away for free, which is interesting. But other networks have done this. If I'm just able to push back a bit, and there's DLC Group with their Velocity system, there's the M3 Group with their Boss system. Those again are tools that they've given away for free. But the
Those
wrinkle,
are origination platforms.
well, exactly, that's the wrinkle, of course, is that the origination platforms, and there's different revenue associated with that. So, yeah, how do you kind of compare the two? I mean, what's the right comparison there?
Yeah. So by the way, if you're in the mortgage origination platform space, you're making the money on the funded deals submitted to lender on your platform. Okay.
Mhm.
Our mortgage monitor tool that we've built, it only works for your closed funded deals. You can now manually add deals for opportunity tracking, but its purpose is to essentially help you manage your book of business without the complexity of running fancy reports and filtering and knowing how to use a CRM. It does it for you. It engages with your clients for you. Similar to, someone that I respect in the business, which is Dan over at Ownwell, right?
Yeah, sure.
He's
Yeah.
built an amazing product that's going to have wide appeal. There's some similarities, not really, because I think his probably does some more things than ours does.
Sure.
Ours does the minimum required to help you grow your business,
Mhm.
right?
Sure. Okay. Yeah. Right. So for you, is that more of a play to say, okay, well, for the people in the Centum group, we want them to close more business because, hey, ultimately, if our brokers and agents succeed, we succeed? Or is it a recruitment thing for you to say, hey, look, every other agent out there, this is what we offer at our network and this is how we're different? Or is it a little bit of both? I mean, how do you kind of, differentiate those two?
Look, we want to arm our agents with tools that let them grow their business.
Hmm.
And we want to arm our broker owners with a tool that they can go and recruit more agents. So, yeah, totally. It's a tandem strategy. And we're always being respectful of, we don't want to be in the origination space because,
Why not? Why not?
why not be in the
Yeah.
mortgage origination
I'm pushing on
platform
you here,
space?
but yeah, I'm pushing on you a bit here, but I'm just
Oh,
curious.
I
Why
think
not?
it's a
Yeah.
complete waste of time because everybody's always
Okay.
unhappy with the
Yeah.
features that you
Yeah,
build
sure.
into it,
Uh-huh.
right? And I think that on the CRM side, I strongly encourage people, if they want to grow and do a good business, to have a CRM in place. Is I think that needs to sit alongside your POS. I don't
Mhm.
think it necessarily should be in your POS. Okay.
Mhm.
Because you can do so many more things. And look, here's the reality: Salesforce, Pipedrive,
The
Blue
Blue
Mortgage,
Mortgage,
HubSpot.
Jungo. Yeah.
Yeah, look, they're investing tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars of R&D money in their products.
Hmm.
Okay. Do you think that a Canadian origination platform can compete with that at that level? Absolutely not. Now, what can they do? And one of our partners and our default provider of platform is Scarlet.
Yeah.
Scarlet Mortgage is a business in a box solution that is going to work for most brokers, right? Does it do everything? No. Does it do most things that you need to do in your business? Absolutely. And it does it well. And there's other players, as we know, that also do it well, be it Expert, be it Finmo, right? And a myriad of others. Ultimately, it's up to the agent to choose what's best for their business and then to build their tech stack around it that works for them and their business.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's, different tools for different people. I mean, no two brokers agents are going to be the same. We know for us, we've always said, with Blue Mortgage, which is built on Zoho, which is, like Salesforce and those tools, we're never going to get 100% of the market. We never will try to do that because it doesn't make sense for everyone, but there is a certain type of person it works for. And I mean, I think that's exactly it. And where the POSs can really thrive, of course, is interacting with the lender, but kind of building that business in a box for the type of agent where that makes it the most sense for them.
Why don't we all
Yeah.
start calling it POS? Because,
Yeah,
if you think about it as
yeah.
a POS, behind the POS is an accounting software,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
In retail, there's always a QuickBooks behind the
Yeah.
point of sale system,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And alongside that is a payment platform such as Stripe or Square.
Mhm.
And alongside that is a membership management software.
Yeah.
None of these things are really all in one when you really think about it.
That's exactly right too, right? Where it's taking these component parts and bringing them together. So I guess maybe bringing it back to mortgage monitor, because I want to dig into it just a little bit more. So, where are you kind of at in that journey to say, okay, we have this great tool now and it's kind of filling this very important part of that journey in between the CRM and we're going to call it the POS system. Where do you go, I guess, from here? And what I mean by that is, do you go deep and get really good at that part, or do you go wide? I mean, we've kind of danced around maybe that answer a little bit implicitly, some of the things we've been talking about, but that's the classic thing. You come out with a new product and the client immediately goes, well, what's next? Right. It's, we get that all the time, but which can be frustrating, but also interesting. So how do you think about where you go from here with your technology and how do you continue to provide value through that?
So, just historically, if you look at HomeBot in the US is
Yeah.
basically a mega version. Well, not a mega version. It's a very similar offering.
Yeah.
The challenge that you've got in the Canadian marketplace is the AVM or the automatic
Yes.
valuation
Totally.
modeling
Yeah.
data is so much costlier
Yes.
than in the
Yeah.
US. Okay.
Mhm.
In the US, it's pennies a pull. Here, it's dollars a pull.
Yeah.
Okay. By the time you're looking at the whole need of the year, right? Needing to pull it on a monthly basis. There are two, maybe three. The reason I say three is because some really have their own data and others scrape and combine and sell it, right? So you've got that as a challenge. And I would say that the whole mortgage monitoring, see what I did there? The whole mortgage
Yeah.
monitoring
Another Jedi mind trick. Yeah.
business or
Yeah.
industry is just starting.
Mhm.
Okay. Just like 5 years ago, mortgage origination platforms started getting competition. So this is just starting. I wouldn't be surprised if the banks start offering it very soon, just like they offer the free credit score monitoring at a lot of banks. So I think this is it's coming. I would argue it's almost like part of open banking in a way at the very end,
Sure.
because at the end, you're equipping the consumer with
Yep.
all of the financial information specific to their personal life, right? Their credit score. How much money do I have in my investment account? Am I using a tool to do my trading? So I think at the end, this all comes together. So I think it's going to have a time limit. And I think there's going to be leaders, there's going to be followers. And then all of a sudden, everyone's going to offer this. Okay.
Yeah.
At this point, we're leaders. But here's what's
Absolutely.
different.
Yeah.
Here's what's different. Ours is not just about showing you the equity and the opportunities that exist within the client's mortgage, but long term, our mother company, the Charlwood Pacific Group, we're all about brand integration. And
Yes.
that is how we integrate with our sister company, Century 21 Canada and Real Property Management Canada. So at the end of the day, we want to play a part in the overall housing journey, be it to help you buy a home, finance a home, or manage a home as an investment property. So when we're helping you monitor your mortgage, what we're really helping you do in the long term, in the grand scheme of things, is maybe it's time to start thinking about buying an investment property. Because guess what? Owning a rental property, you'll almost always, if done correctly, make more money than in the stock market. And by the way, someone else is paying off the debt for that investment, right?
Hmm.
Well, how do we do that? Well, you need a real estate agent and you need a property manager, et cetera. So that's the long-term vision
Yeah.
of what Mortgage Monitor is and will become to our sister brands in the
Yeah.
future.
Yeah. Well, I think that, one thing that I've talked about a lot on this podcast, and I think it's true, there is a shift underfoot a bit too. We talk about the technology side, but there's, I think, on the consumer side too, which is, back in 2021, very transactional, right? Okay. It was just bananas. And if you could get a mortgage through the system, that was the value add and that was fine. But now it's just going completely to, I would say, more the trusted advisor. I go from transaction to trust. That's how I describe it. And, it's less so about, hey, I can get a mortgage for you. It's having that holistic picture. At the same time, the client's a lot more educated. So it's being able to provide that holistic picture, but then also have, the value adds that go with that. Right. And I think that's actually interesting how you guys uniquely positioned to be able to say, well, my value adds, yes, we can talk about the picture, but also we have the services that can accompany that overall picture. I mean, I don't know if you would add or remove anything to that, but that's how I see it based on kind of where you guys are at.
100%. I think the
Yeah.
entire industry is evolving into more an advisory type of industry. I think that was a long time coming.
Hmm.
I think we will get to a point where mortgage brokers and mortgage agents are viewed at even a more respected and professional level than they have been in the past.
Yes.
And I think that, providing our agents the resources and tools to really execute on being a good home financing advisor is what's going to make us successful and grow. And I'm reminded, as you were speaking of, in 21 and in the crazy time, right? I still have a real
Oh,
phone,
you
by the
do?
way.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. It's my
Okay.
favorite device.
Yeah. Okay.
So, like, what's your best 5-year fixed rate? Right.
That was
That
it.
was,
That's the
and
conversation.
if you
Yeah.
didn't know how to navigate that question, they would just call the next person who did know how to navigate the question.
Yeah.
And what our thing is now is, we're in a renewal opportunity environment right now, right? As rates are high. And I think we've got some interesting opportunity. So instead of saying, well, here's my best rate, right? We now say, actually, before we talk about the best rate, can I start with enrolling you in this free tool that we have on a monthly basis? You're going to get the value of your home and how much equity you have. And every month, we're going to tell you what mortgage interest rate product is available to you that will save you money. And we're going to give you some ideas on how to make yourself richer, right?
Hmm.
And I think they forget the question, what was your best 5-year fixed rate? Because you've just said wealth, equity, wealth creation, growing your overall financial health. And that's the advisor's role.
I think it's the exact right reframe, which is, if they come in, they're asking for the 5-year fixed, they're talking about just solutions or products. Right. And that's a losing game. Right now, I think you're losing that game to the big banks as they're getting super aggressive on rate.
Well, and the Canadian mortgage app can do that.
Well,
There's a
there you go.
lender rate button in there. So
So click.
that
Yeah,
was a quick
exactly.
call.
Yeah, there you go, Ben. But yeah, if you can switch it, not just to solution, but like, okay, what's the underlying problem here, right? Why do you care about rate? Well, you care about rate to save money. Why do you care about saving money? Okay, you actually want to build your wealth. Okay, now we're having the right conversation. And if you can enable that, that's a trend, right? So I guess maybe to wrap up, talking about trends, I was so close, but couldn't get through an episode without talking about everyone's favorite buzzword is AI. For me, it's starting to get a little bit into that zone of a little bit of exhaustion. People don't even know what to do with it quite yet. Do you have a hot take? Do you have an AI tool that's blowing the socks off? Or are you maybe in my camp, which is I'm trying a lot of things, but I haven't gone, 2 feet, right into something and said, oh my God, this is the best thing since sliced bread. Where are you on the spectrum there?
Shout out to our friends at Scarlett or at Axiom Innovations. Scarlett Genius is a rate and guideline and lender contact information tool. that can save you a lot of time. I think Lender Spotlight, same thing. I think they were the first ones in the space with all of that information. They are all forms of AI, but in my head, like AI to me is just still computer code and
Yes. Right.
formula matching.
Yep.
My AI, I'm a little bit old fashioned. If I want to know something about a lender or a guideline, I guess it's two keys that I push on my keyboard. It's Control F. Then my AI, like, if I'm looking for a child tax benefit or whatever I'm looking for, I can find it that way. But I think that those two tools have really simplified
Hmm.
some of that work. AI in general in the mortgage space, I think you're going to use it maybe to help craft the wording of your client journey. Maybe if you have a client email where you just don't know how to respond, you're going to maybe go and seek some assistance to summarize the email and provide a response draft. But ultimately, what I'm afraid of with AI is eventually, I read some emails today that I know those responses were written with Chat GPT, right?
Well, the fact that you know it tells you something too, though, right? That you
Right.
knew it was
Yeah. Yeah.
written
Yeah.
that way.
I
Yeah.
trust this email
Yeah.
finds you well. If it
Yeah.
starts with that, there's a good chance. So I think that AI is going to remove sincerity from the work that we do. And I think you just can't beat another person being out there looking out for your best interest. I don't think that
Yeah.
AI can do that. And look, at the end of the day, you can't automate sincerity. Trust me, I've been trying for years.
There we go. That's where we should close the curtain right there. But I mean, absolutely. Just to put a cherry on it, I think the value, if you saw a stock ticker, I would invest in sincerity right now because the value that people will place in sincerity, and as you put it, generally looking out for them, will only go up because there's going to be so much noise. All these tools, they're adding a ton of noise. So don't be afraid of them. Find the right way to use them, but also understand that a lot of noise is coming with it.
It's a tool
Yeah.
in your toolkit. And, yesterday my wife sent me, she said, can you go and get a screwdriver out of the basement? And I said, the flat or the star one. And apparently these things have actual names. I think you're married now, being a
Yeah.
father as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hopefully, you know toolkits better than I do. All I can tell you is that AI is just going to be part of the toolkit. Where and how and for how long it will fit in is unknown. Personally, I'm monitoring it, but I'm not losing sleep over AI.
Yep. Love it. Okay, Adrian. Well, any final word as we wrap up here? I was going to say 30 minutes, but it's been 40 minutes. It's always a blast with you. It flew by. Any kind of, I guess, final shout outs, final comments? Thanks again. This was an absolutely amazing conversation.
No, I think the only thing I would say is I have had a business connection to Tom and Blue for a number of years. I have, been a customer and worked with them and always had very positive results. I would say if you don't know how to get started in improving your business using a business platform, it's not going to hurt to reach out to them and give it a try. I'm certainly very appreciative of what you bring to the industry. So thanks for having me.
Love it. Well, thanks, Adrian. Thanks for those kind words. And yeah, until next time. Thanks, everyone.
You bet.